How's it going, folks? My name is Alexis, and welcome to a new series here on the channel. I think I'm just going to simply title it Halloween Thrifting. Pretty self-explanatory. It's probably every 2 weeks. I'm going to update this series. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any footage of me actually at the thrift stores. I probably should, but it just feels so awkward for some reason. I don't know, it just feels so awkward whipping my phone out and filming something and then picking it up off the shelf. I've been a fan of monster masks and Halloween shit all my life, you can probably tell. And these days I don't really like going to Spirit Halloween. Party City is now defunct. And then, you know, the Halloween aisle at Target and Walmart and everything, stuff is just so tacky and cheesy and homogenized. So I look for stuff that's vintage. Mostly 80s, 90s, and 2000s. The time period in which I grew up. Some of this stuff is a little more adjacent to like trick shops or magic shops as well. We've got quite a bit of stuff to go through here, so let's just get into it. Start off with this here, 3D mirroscope illusion. If you were a weird kid like me, you probably wanted one of these and saw these at cheesy magic shops and Halloween shops. Yeah, just cool. I think it was $1, so I had to have it. More trick shop kind of thing, but this Imagineering / Collegeville foot in the mouth. Just a cheesy old Halloween-y toy. Finding stuff like this still in the package is pretty cool. Here's a couple props that'll come in handy for my home haunt this year. Found just a severed arm and a heart. Pretty cool. Oh, and found a bag of bouncy ball eyeballs. So had to have them. Again, they were 99 cents. But the Dark Illusions wall hanger, picture frame sort of thing. You can see it is an actual physical sculpt. And this particular one is painted with this really, really brilliant glow-in-the-dark paint. Still tagged Dark Illusions. This thing's from '94, right? Yeah, 1994, R. Marino, so no doubt that's the artist. You've probably seen other versions of this same product line. They did some pumpkins and clowns and demons. There's this really famous one of this bald guy screaming. That's super infamous, very 90s Halloween. Speaking of, well, I mean, everything here is vintage Halloween, duh, but very nostalgic. Every time I see these at the thrift store, I always get them. They're always like $1. I have a small pile of these, and I don't even use them anymore, but all throughout my childhood, we would always decorate the yard with this kind of thing. Just that packaging and everything, that's so classic. I haven't carved an actual pumpkin in years, and this year I'd like to change that. And I saw these and decided, yeah, I'm grabbing those. These pumpkin teeth. I've never accessorized a pumpkin before. I've only ever carved them. And then, same thrift store, I found 2 sets of pumpkin fangs. These are also Fun World, by the way. I don't know if I'll use all 3. I'd have to carve 3 pumpkins, I guess, if I did. Maybe I will. We'll see. This thing is super funny, super cheesy. Reminds me of Mr. Bungle. This clockwork wind-up clown. I would assume 1970s, 1980s. I think he used to have maracas, because I don't know why he'd be doing that gesture otherwise, but he was just too funny and cool. It was like $1. I had to have him. Speaking of clowns, this is also pretty funky. This guy was $5. Couldn't pass him up. 1970s. Is there a date on him? It says 1976. Made by Horseman Dolls. This Emmett Kelley ventriloquist dummy. I will use him in my home haunt, but it's kind of cute. This is a classic. If you're into this kind of stuff, you'll no doubt be familiar with the company Gemmy. Here's this Gemmy caged shaking skeleton.
Okay, joke's over. Open the door. Let me out.
Yeah, so cheesy. It's more classical. I don't know. I like hyper-realistic weird stuff, but stuff like this is my absolute favorite. He doesn't have a date on him. I would assume probably like 08, 09, something like that, right? Maybe 06, 07. Definitely remember seeing him at like Kmart and Walgreens and stuff back in the day. And it's so cool. Walgreens, that's another store that's leaving, and Kmart has been gone. Yeah, all these cool stores that I went to as a kid are all leaving. And this guy needs no introduction. I found an old school what do they call these things? I think Bluckies, right? These are called Bluckies. These cheesy blow mold skeletons. It's just so classic to me. Kind of the same vein as that pumpkin bag that I showed earlier, where when I was a kid, this was like the cream of the crop for our front yard. We had, I don't know, 6 or 8 of these. It was really cool to find a perfectly intact one. He wasn't brand new in package or anything, but he was in perfect shape. And I also managed to find this miniature Bluckies, about 2.5 feet tall, 3 feet tall. Couldn't pass them up. I actually forgot about these. I found these as well. These are 1995 Paper Magic Group skulls. I found them 2 days apart at 2 separate thrift stores, about 5 miles from each other. And as you can see, one of them is missing some teeth. The other one is perfect condition-wise. And they were just too cool to leave behind. So a quick detour to the living room here. I found this dude. This is a 2004 Smithy's half zombie, groundbreaking zombie, I suppose. You might be able to tell. I actually painted him with this blood paint. Some people might find that kind of sacrilege, since it's kind of a vintage piece. But I've got plans for him in my home haunt, and I wanted him to look skinned as opposed to, you know, zombified. I got a noose around him. But now we're going to get into the masks, and we've got this Fun World child-sized smiling single-tooth ghost in fluorescent orange. I'm not as familiar, and actually he's specifically Easter Unlimited. I'm not as familiar with some of the later Fun World pieces. I'm more about the Fantastic Faces, you know, the original early 90s ones. I've got a few of those. But, you know, the fact this guy, he was $1.50 at Goodwill. He's fluorescent orange. Had to have him. I love Fun World and Easter Unlimited masks. I have a pile of them. If you're into vintage Halloween masks, you'll no doubt be familiar with Cesar. We've got Cesar Abraham Lincoln here. So classic. Yeah, I really like collecting Cesar masks. They're some of my absolute favorites, and I have a handful of Cesar President masks, but this is probably the coolest one I have so far. Just from other Cesar masks I have, I would assume he is 1980s. And what's really cool is I got him for, I think, $5, but he still has, I don't know if you can see that, his original tag from when he was initially purchased at a costume shop that was about a 5-minute drive from the Goodwill. Actually, this was an ARC thrift store that I purchased him at, and that particular Halloween store, I might make a video about it later in the season because I fucking love that store. Forgive the lighting down here, but I also found this 1997 Paper Magic Group skeleton dude. Just so classic 90s. Couldn't pass him up. He was so cool, and he was super cheap. Then this is the second biggest score of the year so far. This is a 1978 Be Something Studios female lunar lynx. If you're into vintage mask collecting, you'll know what here. This thing is super iconic, super classic, vintage. It's in like perfect shape despite being so old. It's like someone wore it once back in the day and then kept it in a box in their closet or something. And the major score of the year so far, I could not believe I found this. I still can't believe I found this. I'm not bullshitting. This was at a thrift store. This is a 2018 RZFX Fusion Freak. If you're into independent masks, you might know RZFX, aka Raging Zombie Studios. The gentleman retired a handful of years ago, and I don't know if he's doing anything these days. Maybe he's on Facebook or something. But he's not making masks anymore, and these are worth quite a bit of money. This thing was not super cheap, for a thrift store certainly. They were aware that it was something special, because how could you not be? But it was also, I mean, a lot less than it would have been if I eBayed it, you know. Probably half the price, less than half of what it was brand new. I don't really know what it was brand new. I'd assume it was 200, 300 bucks, and it was way less than that, I'll say that much. I was just so blown away to find that at a thrift store. Just crazy, crazy stuff. So that'll just about do it for today's video. Again, I think I covered everything I found. I hope so. I think I said at the beginning I'm going to update the series every 2 weeks. Up till the 31st of October. A lot of the stuff you see behind me, unless it's new stuff or my Death Studios masks, I found at thrift stores over the past handful of years. I'm very fortunate in that there's probably 25 thrift stores within an hour drive of where I'm at. So, you know, I go pretty often. Let's hope for more cool stuff for the rest of the year, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out.